Yo, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, baby. And today I'm showcasing you guys my variant of Nephytys. This was the archetype that I was the most hyped and excited about. Out of all of the 3 that came out in Hidden Summoners, this was the one that I anticipated the most. I have high expectations for it. I think it's a great archetype. And it's rituals, you guys. Konami printed another ritual archetype, but this time it's good. You know, it reminds me of Vendreads. It seems like it's promising, but you know that it's going to get better in the future. But they really let me down with Salamangreat, so I'm very happy that they made this one, which makes up, I'll forgive them for making Salamangreat so mediocre and, you know, just average. Whereas this deck can be above average when you get it rolling, and once you understand how it operates and, you know, play it properly, it's a really good deck. It really is. I like it. And it's really consistent, you guys. Like, there's a lot of nice combos. It swarms the field. I can show you guys some cool combos and test hands. In fact, at the end of the video, I'll probably do a test hand or two just to show you guys how the deck can, like, swarm the field. And the cool thing also is it can be splashed. Other decks can be splashed into it, like Dinos, like True Kings, you know, Fire Kings, decks like those, even Shaddolls, because you can pop a Shaddol in hand with your Nephytys monsters to get their effect. So there's a lot of ways you can play the deck, and I do have a lot of variations coming to you guys, but I want to pick the best variations that are the most consistent and less situational. But for today, I'm showcasing you guys Nephytys True Kings. So True Kings was the first variation I chose, and let's hop into the list, you guys. So we're going to start off with 3 copies of Cerulean, Sacred Phoenix of Nephytys. I love this card's artwork, and I think it's a really, really strong card. It offers what I call crowd control. It offers a very, very venerable board presence. It's a threat that applies a lot of pressure. Its effect is not like hard one's return. It can actually float, which is really, really, really good as well. And it doesn't even target. It's just a really strong card. The crowd control, the board control, the dominant presence, the pressure that it applies. It's just a well-rounded and good and fair balanced card. It's like, there's not a lot of bad, but there's not so much good to the point where it's like, oh, this is just an unfair card. Does it make sense? Konami did a really, really good job with making this a balanced archetype, being that it's good, it's solid, but it's not like tier 0 cancer. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. Nobody really likes tier 0 cancer as decks that kind of just, they go first and they win, you know? So he's a really strong card. If you don't know what he does, basically, you know, he's a ritual, so obviously he has to be a ritual summoned through their ritual spell. He has a basic main phase effect where you can destroy any number of Nephytys monsters. I'm sorry, any Nephytys, I think it's Nephytys cards, because let me make sure. Yeah, destroy any number of Nephytys cards. So it can be their spells and traps as well. Any number of Nephytys cards from your hand and or your field. So you can do a combination of both. And then destroy that many monsters your opponent controls. So basically, think of this as Heliopolis, the Sun Dragon overlord of the Heretic archetype, where he tributes any number, and then that number he destroys. So this guy, it's like, think of it like Overflow too. So any number of Nephytys cards he destroys with his effect, and destroying is not a cost at all. Destroying is not a cost. That's the number of monsters he can destroy. So you pop 3, then you get to pop 3, and that triggers other snowballing effects, because a lot of the Nephytys cards that got made in this archetype, which are newer, they have effects that trigger if they're destroyed by card effect, which gives you more advantage later on in the long run in the grind game. And his other effect is he can actually special summon himself from the graveyard during your next standby if he was destroyed by battle or card effect. So yeah, he just floats like a Yang Zine kind of, which is really cool. And then we have 2 copies of Devotee. Only thing I'm missing for this deck is one more copy of Disciple and then another copy of Devotee, and I will have everything that I need for the Nephytys portion. So I'm only missing 2 cards basically, which is one more of each of the cards that I already have. But Devotee is absolutely your best turn 1 play. This is better suited for going second because it provides that crowd control, and obviously if you're going first, your opponent won't really have monsters that you can destroy. So it's not really ideal, but there were some hands where I was able to summon 2 and I was like, oh, I can make a rank 8, but why waste all those resources just to make rank 8? So you want to save this guy for your follow-ups and stuff so that you can get a push. But Devotee is your turn 1 play. This card is actually the best starter card of the whole deck. This is like the best of all the Nephytys monsters. It gives you access to your whole deck. If it's ritual summon, and I love that if it's ritual summon, it's a great trigger effect. It special summons a Nephytys monster from your deck. That alone gives you access to all of your other Nephytys monsters, including the original Sacred Phoenix, which is really cool. And if it's in the graveyard, you can destroy a Nephytys card in your hand, and you can actually special this card from your graveyard. So it gives you extended plays, recursion, recovery, and also it's a great powerful starter play that provides a follow-up as well. So it's like the best card. If you have pre-prep, you can make this because you can just, it's a level 2. You can obviously ritual summon for it by tributing any of your level 2s, any of your True Kings, you know, your Phoenix, even this guy. So if you open pre-prep and any of your monsters, you can just 2-card combo pre-prep basically, and any monster gives you this. This snowballs into other things because you can bring out your disciple. Disciple can search out another guy. Then you can normal summon. Use the matriarch to bring back the guy that you tributed for the ritual summon, and then you can use that effect and then special another guy from the hand, and you just start going in. Like, you really build up a crazy board. Next up, for our non-ritual Nephytys monsters, we have Triple Defender. I decided that since I don't have 3 disciples, that I needed to play Triple Defender. But for me, ideally, in my personal opinion, and it's just opinion, I think that you should play 3 disciples and then 2 of all the other ones. This one is probably one of the better ones for as far as starters go. It basically summons one of them from hand. And if you didn't know, all the Nephytys monsters, the newer ones, they have basic effects where they can destroy 1 card in your hand and then do A, B, C, or D. So destroying a card in your hand is kind of like how they resolve their effect, which gives synergy to like dinos, you know, pop Baby Ceratosaurus, True Kings, pop them, get an effect, Fire Kings, pop them, get an effect, etc., so on and so forth. And then they have effects that trigger if they're destroyed by card effect, which is really cool. So what Defender basically does is she summons a guy from hand with her destruction effect from hand. You know, pop a card from hand, summon one of them from hand. And then if she's destroyed, during your next standby, their effects trigger during your next standby. The effects, if they're destroyed by card effect, she'll destroy another Nephytys card in your deck, which actually really helps because it allows you to pick the effect that you need. Like, for example, your Phoenix, so you can grind against Alter Guys, Sky Strikers, you know, Paleos, back row heavy decks like that, True Dracos. And she also gives you, like, your floaters, gives you straight access to your Matriarch, gives you a follow-up search for your Nephytys, Disciple, just gives you a lot of options. So I think that she goes in 3rd place as far as the starter cards. And then we have 2 copies of Disciple. I really wish that I had 3, but it's okay because the deck has been functioning really well with just 2. Because you get access to this through your devotee anyways. And this is the card that I always go into. Unless I already have it in hand, then I'll summon the Defender. And then, you know, use Defender to get this guy out. And then use this guy, search another target that you can pop to get your Matriarch to resolve her effect and summon another one for grave. You can actually summon 6 monsters in the same turn, which is really good. Gives you link options, you know, bigger, better boards, rank 2 options. Just really, really good the board presence. But what Disciple does is her destroy a card in hand effect is to search a Nephytys monster. And then if she's destroyed by card effect, she searches a Nephytys spell or trap. So she searches your whole deck, all your monsters and all your spells and all your traps. So she's obviously the main 3 of that you want to play. Then 2 copies of Matriarch. She's a floater. She summons herself from grave on destruction. And then she summons guys from grave. So she's your revival card, period. She just allows you to get follow-ups consistently, allows you to have a board presence that can be generated and reestablished. She's really good. I like Matriarch a lot because normally when I summon Devotee, I'm tributing one of these guys for the ritual summon, so I'll use her to bring them back, and then I can do a full combo off of that. So yeah, Matriarch's really strong. And then another card that I like at 2 is actually 2 Chroniclers. I like having access to 2 of each of them, except for Disciple. This should be the only one you play at 3. Because like they're really strong, and a lot of times Chronicler, like she gets you resources back, but the second one comes up because once you resolve one, and if you can't get access to your Matriarch, you start needing the second one a lot more because it puts back your link monsters, it puts back your spells and stuff like that back into your hand, just giving you more resources in general. And you really just need the namesake as well. So I like Chronicler at 2, but if you want, just play to 1 of her. It's not gonna hurt to play 1, but she has came up with 2. I've only playtested this deck for 2 days. So 2 days isn't a lot, but so far just in playtesting in 2 days, you know, which I've actually committed 19 hours straight back-to-back playtesting with this. The second one has come up a lot for me. I do play 1 Spellbook Magician of Prophecy because I play the Spellbook engine. Because if you didn't notice, these are all spellcasters. Devotee's a spellcaster. So, you know, knowledge being a +1 that's not Pot of Desires, I like that because I don't like Pot of Desires in this deck. It just doesn't work for this list. And next up for our True Kings, Let's go ahead and slide these over here. So we do play True Kings, and I play the ones that have the most synergy. We have 3 copies of Mariamne, the True Draco Phoenix, and 3 copies of Barastos, the Fathomer. You guys should know what these do. They're fairly old, but not super old. They're like just over a year and some change. But basically, all True Kings have effects where they can reveal themselves in hand to summon themselves, and then they get effects when they're popped. So this one is really strong. It's the best one I have in hand because you can go break even off of Disciple, like use Disciple, pop this, search a Nephytys monster, and then use this effect, search him. And then the next Nephytys you use can pop him in hand and then get another effect, and then he'll summon another one of her. And then that way you have access to more Link fodder as well. So it's really good. They help you to cycle through your deck, summon True King of all Chlamydia, and there's nothing better than using Chlamydia, True King of all Calamities, Call Water, reveal this, pop 2 of their monsters, banish 2 of their back rows, all off of just this one card. So yeah, really strong. I like the True Kings a lot, have great synergy, and sometimes you get to do Mariamne's full effect where you pop 2 of the Nephytys monsters, and you get her effect that also triggers to banish 4 from the top of their deck, and then you get the standby effects of all the Nephytys. So anytime you use True Kings, you're going to not only get out your full combo for Calamities, but during your next standby, you get a lot of follow-ups. You get, like, searches, you know, you get floaters, you get to add cards from grave to hand, and then get any effect you want. Really, really strong. And I still play the Sacred Phoenix because it's a very, very high ceiling card. It's very impactful against back row heavy decks. So this deck has board control where you can pop all the monsters and then pop all the back row. So you can clear entire fields. You can just summon this during the standby. You pop it in your hand off of any of your Nephytys. You search it off of your Link monster and off of Disciple. And, you know, you can also special it from your deck with Devotee. So it's a one-of that's extremely accessible. And you just pop it in your hand or on your field. You can even, you know, use this effect on standby, destroy all spells or traps that your opponent has, and including yours, but you don't really play back row. And then you summon out your Cerulean and use him to pop all their monsters, clear their field, and then you can just attack for game. But that's all the monsters for the main deck. I felt that the Fire True King Agni Mazud was clearly misplaced, and he has no interaction in hand unless you already have a target engraved to add back. So if you open with him in hand and you pop him with any of your Nephytys, you don't get any advantage, and he's just not ideal. The only fire targets you have are just these, and it's like, it's okay because you can reveal him to pop those, but it's just not ideal and it's not optimal enough. Then for our spells, which really give you access to a lot of stuff, you have a lot of advantage that you can generate off of them. We obviously have 3 double Ds, Dragonic Diagram. It's a really, really powerful card. Pop your Nephytys, get their effects, search your True Kings, you know, just a lot of snowballing advantage that you can get off of this card. Then we have 3 copies of Pre-Preparation of Rites, my favorite spell in the entire game of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's basically a 1-card combo because you saw how many monsters I play. If you open with any of your monsters, which clearly is half your deck nearly, so pre-prep, just opening with pre-prep, you're going to get the combo with Devotee, and Devotee is going to be able to get you set up for a lot of stuff, you guys. It's really good. So kind of like, think of this like Predaplant, Osiris, Scorpio. Think of it like a 1-card combo, because Scorpio is kind of like a 1-card combo because most decks you play them in, they play more monsters than anything else. So it's ideally statistically and mathematically that you'll open up with a monster. So I always look at pre-prep like a 1-card combo for Devotee. And the reason why you can use this is because a little thing that people fail to notice is at the last line in the text of Nephytys, it mentions the card text exact name, Devotee, and also the Cerulean the Phoenix, which means that because their names are listed specifically in this card, pre-prep can search out them and the ritual spell. Then we have 3 copies of Preparation of Rites. It's basically just to add more from graveyard, which your Link already does, but you ritual summon like 3-4 times in your good hands, which is really good. And giving access to more Devotees, it never really hurt, especially like if you want to pre-prep for Phoenix and then go prep for your Devotee, that doesn't hurt. And then 3 copies of Extra Foolish Burial, because my normal summon cannot go to Manju. Like, I saw a list that really made me cringe where they were going more heavy on rituals using incantations and Manjus and stuff. This deck already searches out the ritual monsters and the ritual spells pretty fast and pretty easy. But I still wanted the versatility of a Manju that I don't have to commit a normal summon to. So yeah, 3 Extra Foolish Burial. Really, really powerful card. It helps out a lot. And then I also played 3 copies of Spellbook of Secrets. Secrets is just a +1. And the main reason why I played Blue Boy is because there were hands when I opened with Secrets, but like none of the Nephytys monsters. So that way, Secrets isn't a dead draw, even though, you know, you play like 10 Nephytys monsters. They're hands on, I don't open up with them. And sometimes it's better to just do the Secrets for Blue Boy, because that way you end up with 6 cards in hand. Whereas if you Secrets for Knowledge and then normal summon away your Nephytys, you'll still only have 5 cards in hand. So just by playing the Blue Boy, it keeps Secrets as a +1 the first time you use it. And 3 is ideal for me because this is my Pot of Desires for the deck. Does it make sense? This is my +1 that I need. I'm ritual summoning. I'm popping cards in my hand just to resolve effect. So I'm using a lot of resources, and I don't want to end with no cards in hand. I don't want to end with 1 card in hand. I need +1 so I can regenerate, you know, a lot of the advantage that I've just basically replenished what you have expended is the point that I'm getting at. And then 2 copies of Knowledge and 2 Optimus Prime to search out your diagram. Knowledge is just really good in this deck. That's why I play 2 of it. You can easily just sack off Disciple after you resolve Devotee after you resolve her effect to summon 1 from deck, draw 2, and then bring her back from the graveyard and still do more plays after that. And then 3 Rebirth. This breaks a lot of boards. Like in playtesting, I was using this, piloting this against the Prank Kids. I was playtesting both of them against each other. I was using this a lot to break boards, and it's really good. I even used it against my Paleozoics, and it was just really helping, like, a lot. Like, seriously, this card, its effect that destroys a card on the field, people really would, like, underestimate how powerful that is. And the fact that, like, it doesn't target. And there's nothing on this card that says you can only activate it once per turn. And I've legitimately, like, popped 3 cards off of just resolving 1 of it multiple times. Like, I searched it out pre-prep, tributed Devotee for Devotee, popped 1 card, and then went into this guy, added it back, and then added my Big Dude, and then tributed Big Dude for Big Dude, popped another card, and then Preparation of Rites. It's crazy. Like, you can pop a lot of cards with this ritual spell. It helps you go in second, breaking boards. So it's sometimes it's ideal to use the ritual monsters for the tribute fodder for themselves, so that way you get the added effect to pop a card on the field, because it doesn't target. It really helps it out, you know, floodgates. And it helps because, like, when you open Calamities, a lot of times people will set a monster and pass. So you can just use this, pop the monster, and then you can just attack for a lot of damage. And it also helps against back rows, because you'll probably have monsters under control if you have access to Cerulean. Cerulean can pop the monsters, so this can just get rid of the back rows. Unless you already have Phoenix, which then you have monsters and back rows just being completely wiped from the field. But it's really strong. I like it a lot. And then I play 1 Disciple because I burned through my True Kings really fast. Like, in 1 turn, I went through 5 of them, and that was crazy. Like, just making 1 Calamities and doing combos with Devotee and other Nephytys, like, I ran out of them really quick, and I needed another target for Diagram, but I didn't want it to be the Fire True King. I felt that this would be better because it gives me draw power, and I can recycle my Calamities and, you know, my True Kings and just keep doing the same stuff over and over, which is basically looping. So yeah, all your spells are great. The only spells that don't generate any advantage are these, but all of these either search or draw. Like this Searcher, that's draw power, that's Searcher, you know, that's Searcher, that's Searcher, this is Searcher, and that's Searcher. So, you know, pretty consistent spell lineup. So your spells help you to get access to your other combo pieces and help you to deck them, because this deck needs to filter a lot of the times, especially when you're getting ready to resolve a Knowledge. You don't want to draw extra copies of anything you already have. Then our extra deck, we have 1 copy of the Sacred Preserver. I don't have more than 1. So if you're going to ask why don't you play 2 or 3, I only have 1. It's nothing I can do about that. So we have 1 copy of the Sacred Preserver. I do use Chronicler to put this back since I'm just working with 1. And it works out that way until I get another one. But this is like my main go-to. Like, I'm definitely gonna play this at 3 because I'm using this a lot, like a whole lot. I also have a really nice list with the Dino engine that I'm gonna show you guys. This card searches any level 8 wing beast, so I have some crazy spice. Nobody even tried this before, but I'll tell you guys what I'm gonna do. For my Dino list, I'm gonna be using this to search out Dark Samorg because it's a level 8 wing beast. And then I'm going to banish my Soul-Eating Oviraptor or my Overtext Koalas, plus any of the other Wind attribute Nephytys to special summon Dark Samorg through his effect. And I'm going to have Dark Samorg, basically. This gives me access to Dark Samorg. And Dark Samorg is going to help me against this deck's worst matchup, which is Altergeist, Sky Strikers, and Dracos and Paleos. Back row decks, basically. This deck can fare well against, you know, monster-heavy decks. Because this deck punishes people for swarming the field in the first place. So yeah, this card is really flexible. It even searches Nephytys. The OG one is just really strong. It searches out where's Unti at? The Fire King Unti, which is Garunix, but I call her Unti. It searches her. Keep in mind, you can also play Fire Kings in this deck, and you know, you can just search her out, which really helps because you search her out and then you pop her in your hand, and then she'll get her effect to summon herself during the next standby, and then she'll kill your Nephytys, and then during your next standby, they're gonna get all their effects, so which is really cool. So I've considered playing her as a one-of in my list because I have access to her, but I'm summoning Calamities, and I don't want to pop my own Calamities because this is mandatory to destroy. But if you want to try out the Fire King, you can just play one of her, and that's pretty much all you'll need. The other Fire Kings are not really gonna function the way that you think that they will. But yeah, this card's just really good. I'll summon it turn 1, turn 2, and turn 3. It's really strong. It adds my Ritual Spell from Graveyard, which is a lot better. So that way I can just use the same Rebirth and just like use it like 2 to 3 times because of prep as well. And then 1 Sacred Phoenix, Sacred Flame. I only one time did I summon it using 3. And that was pretty awesome because it was a 4800 beat stick that couldn't be destroyed by battle, couldn't be destroyed by card effects, and couldn't be targeted. That also offered protection for all of my little guys under him. So don't get me wrong, it's a great card, but I think it's only going to be a one-of. And then the Nightmares I'm playing are actually, I doubled up on them because a lot of the times for the boards I make, this is what they end up looking like. Like whenever I do my combos, I felt that I was like, yeah, I can go into Skull Dread and stuff like that, but I felt like this would help me because I'm basically trying to set up a board that will hold me down to make sure that I can still live a turn, and I'll be able to OTK them on the follow-up. So this is the standard board that I make a lot, and because I do it so excessively, I wanted the extra copies of these so I can reestablish the same board. Like, this is the minimum board I'll do just by having pre-prep plus, like, either a Matriarch or a Chronicler just in hand. So, like, just 2-card combo, you can do all of that, which is really, really cool because you end up summoning 6 monsters in the same turn. 2 become this, 2 become this, and 2 become that. And they all have different names. So you kind of have this cool board where it can be destroyed by card effects, can be destroyed by battle. And that way, if you did decide that you wanted to play Garunix, she would come out and these won't die, which is, it just really helps. So yep, doubled up on those, like I was saying. So 2 of each of the little Link 2 Nightmares. And then 1 Summon Sork. Summon Sork comes up sometimes, but the one time it did, it helped me to make Griffin. So literally, this is the reason why I'm playing Griffin, and Griffin is also the reason why I'm playing Summon Sork, if it makes sense. It really helps because a lot of the times the effects you want to resolve in the first place are revolving in hand for the True Kings and grave for the Nephytys. And this, you know, you normally just need to link 1 or 2 of your special summon monsters, being your Cerulean and like your Chlamydia, your True King of all Chlamydia. So like, it's a really, really good floodgate that doesn't have really any restriction or hindrance on you. Double Head of Arclight for the 3 extra Foolish Burial. I was going to just play 1, but when you draw another extra Foolish Burial, you don't want to dead draw it. So just playing 2 is optimal for me. Or you can just do 1 of this and 1 Nephytys, Elder Entity Nephytys. But you pretty much got board wipes on lock with your OG Sacred Phoenix and then your newer version Sacred Phoenix. They destroy all monsters and all spells or traps. True King of all Chlamydia, just 1 because you can recycle it. 1 Phantom Fortress Inner Blathenir. This comes up because this deck is really good with destroying cards on the field, but for those cards that can't be destroyed by card effects and stuff like that, you can use him and he'll banish them. And then he can banish from hand, he can banish from deck. He's a really, really good card. And then I played 3 rank 2s. I wasn't going into rank 2s as often as I thought because a lot of the times I use them to do the board I was showing you, which is basically this on this side of the board with the Phoenix and the Service, which to me was a really, really nice board because I know that it's hard to crack that for even some of the best decks, and it just makes sure that I can't die. I'm trying to set up an optimal turn 1 board so that I really can stall them out with Calamities and stuff like that. And if I have Calamities, it's even better. But a lot of times I'm trying to set up a board where I can stall for 1 turn and then OTK on the next, because this deck gets a lot of resources for the standby effects and stuff like that, and you get enough to basically dish out over 8,000 damage, but you just need to be able to stun your opponent with Calamities and stall them out for just that 1 turn. So a lot of times I don't go into these, but when I do, they're really clutch. Like, I've done the combo with Phoenix and Cat Shark. Cat Shark on Phoenix, double it, and then this attack twice and you do 6k. But this also targets any wind monster you control, and it can attack again. So it even helps because a lot of your Nephytys are wind attribute, which is really cool. And because it targets any wind monster, you can even target your Mariamne, the True King, and she'll be 3,000 under diagram, and then you can attack with her twice. And then you can still use Cat Shark to double this, and you can attack for 3k, and that's 9,000 damage, which is really cool. And then Javelin, because negating monster effects is really, really prevalent with this deck having really no no way to negate a monster effect. Calamity prevents monsters effects from activating, but this helps to negate specific monsters that pose a hindrance on me or stop me from going off. So I like him too. And that's pretty much the whole deck, the main and extra. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this deck profile. I really hope that you learned something, and also that you know, you guys give Nephytys a try. I think it's a really promising archetype. I didn't say it was tier 1 or tier 0, but I think that it's balanced, and it has the potential format, you know, not format, but platform and blueprints to become a tier 2 deck at, you know, minimum. To me, it's not tier 3 material. It's actually better than that. And if you guys agree or disagree, that's, you know, we're not going to argue about that. But God bless you guys. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. Stay tuned for future content. Don't do drugs, and make sure you guys stay positive, all right? Peace.